Hello. Sorry to bother you. Can I ask you a slightly odd question?
Yeah, sure.
I'm making a podcast called Strangers on a Bench, where essentially I talk to people I don't know on benches for 10 or 15 minutes. Are you up for that? Do you want to give it a go?
What a chance meeting, eh?
Pure chance. There's a lot of chance in this.
Oh, well, there's a lot of
There's
chance in
crazy
life
amount
in
of chance.
general.
This is so true. Should I tell you why I chose here over
Why?
somewhere else? I was taking the Newcastle Metro
Right,
for the first time,
right.
and there were two platforms either side, and I was going to go to South Shields. I still might,
Okay.
but the train was delayed for about 20 minutes. I thought maybe that's a sign. I saw that
yeah.
Whitley Bay was on the other side,
Right.
and that was coming in kind of 3 minutes. And I just
So
thought, well,
go for that instead. Yeah, you've
gotta
still got
go where
plenty of
you're
time.
pointed
If you've got the
towards.
rest of the day, you can still go to South Shields.
go to the whole package. You
Meh.
feeling good?
Yeah,
Delightful.
delightful indeed.
The first question is, do you have a favourite day of the week?
Probably Friday because, that's when the weekend starts. So I'm sitting here today and I'm thinking, oh, Friday tomorrow, we've got a long weekend.
And then the joy begins.
And then the joy begins.
Okay, I want to know what for you
Yeah.
represents like a really brilliant Friday lived in the world.
Wow.
Within reason, within
Live-
what is possible in your life.
With what is possible for me, that's a really good point actually, because I do have a disability. So I have certain restrictions. But a good day for me would be to wake up, be relatively pain-free, the sun would be shining, get my daughter up and take her to school, and she would go in very happy because she also has some problems. So if she goes in happy, I'm happy. And then I come down to the beach, and that's when I breathe and I just take in the view, the sound of the waves, the sand, the pebbles, and I have an hour where I look for sea glass. And if there's anything on your mind or if there's anything troubling you, this is the perfect kind of place to empty your mind of all those thoughts. So as you're walking along, because your brain is obsessing over finding glass, all other thoughts are pushed out to the side. And it really helps you relax. And I know this because I've done this for a long time, and I guess I don't have mental health problems as such, but I do have autism, and that presents its own sort of anxieties and stuff like that. So coming here, starting my day here, and then if I've got anything else to do, it can wait until I'm finished here. Probably my back's quite sore by this point because I'm bending over about 600 or 700 times picking up sea glass. And then I'll pop home and have a late breakfast and go and see my mum, and then I'll start thinking about what we'll be doing that evening, me and my daughter, what we might watch, what we might eat, what we might be doing on the Saturday and Sunday, because we have sort of quite a ritualistic lifestyle, both being autistic. We do the same sort of things in the same sort of order. And I think I've noticed this most recently. I do have a lot of passions, and I have to get those into my life. Things need to enrich my life, so I need to cook beautiful food, and I need to be in nature, and I love stars and the aurora borealis, and there's so many things that I'm passionate about, and I want to try and cram them into every single day.
You need a lot of life, a lot of time, basically.
Yeah, there's not enough hours in the day because there's so much beauty to kind of like, what would you
cherish.
say? Yeah, you kind of need to absorb it because there's also so much crap in the world that you really need that to offset it, Come down to the beach and sit on a bench and enjoy the quietness.
Tell me about sea glass, because this is a ritual.
This is
sea
a
glass.
ritual,
Picking up
it's
sea
an
glass.
obsession, it's a passion.
How does one begin this? Do you remember the openings? Session?
Off and on over the years. I've lived on the northeast coast of England all my life, but wherever I've been in the world, I've been that type of person who would pick up a pebble or pick up a piece of sea glass and, got them all around my home and things like that, and they're all very meaningful. And I think it's because they've got a history. And you don't always know what that history is, so you think, wow, this could be hundreds of years old. So since I was a small child coming down to the beach, I would pick things up. But more recently, I've sort of got some time to myself and started to decide to carve out an hour or two coming down here, mostly to Whitley Bay, and just having this allotted slot every day, because there are different types of glass. There's pirate glass and there's bonfire glass.
Tell me more about this.
So pirate glass, we're sitting on a bench now, right, but there is literally a pile of rocks just down there from us.
Yeah.
2 days ago, I found what looked like the rounded corner of the bottom of a bottle, but it was completely black. But I had a feeling that I had read about this and I knew what it was, so I picked it up. And it's an old bottom of a rum bottle. It is glass. You would think it was a pebble at first, but when you shine a light through it, it glows like a kind of a yellowy green. And that's probably about 200 years old. It'll have come from a ship going up here somewhere where, you know, they had bottles of rum on board and the glass was dark, basically, to try and preserve the rum from the light. And then it becomes like a tick list. It becomes like, you know, I've got to find one of those. And if you find a sea marble, especially if the light's shining and it catches the beautiful colour in the glass, it's just the most. I take photographs sometimes as I go. Once you've picked it up, put it in a bag and taken it home, it'll never look as beautiful as it looked when you saw it on the sand for the first time with the sun shining on it, you know what I mean?
So true.
Yeah.
There's actually a message in there somewhere, isn't there?
What would that be, would you say?
Well, as in, you know,
Beauty.
I think of this also when you're
Yeah.
when you're on a beach, you see this
Yeah.
amazing looking stone or shell or something. And
Yeah.
You think, wow, that's
Yeah.
something incredible. Then you take it home,
Yeah.
and it's not the same.
And it's not the same. Certain things should be left, but glass I always see as a kind of beautiful, natural thing, but it's also kind of like a waste product on the
Yeah.
beach sort of thing. So I always feel like okay taking glass, but sometimes you look at a shell and you go, no, that lives there. It wants to stay there.
I mean, if you're getting bags of sea glass every day, there must be a lot of bags of sea glass.
Oh yeah, you're talking kilos and kilos.
And
You
then-
really don't want to.
Okay, so like, what does your house look like?
So my house looks like my conservatory was meant to be this serene and beautiful and simplistic and minimalist place, and it's now full of sea glass essentially. So some of it's displayed, some of it's put into like bottles and vases and jars with lights. But then I realised I needed to do more, so I now make jewellery. I'm wearing some earrings today. They're very, very simple earrings.
I was thinking of, I was going to say.
But I'm trying to learn more, and I'm trying to look at what I could do with it that makes the best use of its natural beauty. So I'm looking into trying to use up some of the many kilos that I've got, and I probably need to take a day off from here to actually sort through it. The problem is when you're down here every day picking the glass, you don't have the time to do stuff with it. But I am starting to make things, and I want to try and sort of give everybody at Christmas time something that I've made that's come
That would
from.
be lovely, wouldn't it? This may be a challenging question for you, but I'll say, look, let's imagine all the things you've picked up from a beach
Yeah,
are in the top of your house,
right.
right? And the window's open. Let's imagine some enormous storm blows in. Let's call it some kind of tornado.
Okay.
But let's imagine this wind is so strong that it's like blowing all your things away
Right.
or around.
Okay.
But good news is
Uh-huh.
you have 10 seconds to grab,
To snatch what I
to
need.
snatch the one that you would like to keep if they're all blowing away.
Okay.
Do you think you know which one that is?
Yes, because I've literally just had it made into a pendant, and it is a green piece of glass in the shape of sort of like a pear but flattish, and it's been placed into silver. And it has like what I would say is sort of striations through it. So
Yeah.
it has like blue, green, yellow, and then when you wear it, because of the silver that's on the back and because of the light reflecting off it, it looks like the aurora borealis. So that combines my two biggest passions in one. If I'm not looking down at the sand picking sea glass up, I'm looking up at the sky at
I
night.
like it. You're so either up or down. What about
Yeah.
what about just to the horizon?
I'm not sure. You know, that's the one thing when I walk on this beach every day and I realise that I've spent an hour or two bent over, I sometimes go, hang on a second, and you just stop and you look and you go, yes, Yes, it is beautiful, because sometimes when I get down here, the tide will be right in, it's only just starting to go out. And then the next time I look, it's, it's 500 metres away. And anything could be happening around me. I wouldn't have a clue, because
So you
I'm
can
so
just get totally
absorbed.
locked
I
in.
do get completely lost in it, yeah.
So this is a classic autistic trait.
I would say so. I am aware of what some would call specialist interests, if you like. But at the end of the day, it's an obsession. Let's sort of call it what it is.
I mean, obsessions are important, and lovely ones are even better.
Yeah, it shows passion for things. I think if you don't have an obsession in life or a passion in life, then you can't care enough. You've got to love something. Everyone's got to love something.
I suppose the big question is, how does one... Imagine someone's listening, they're like, well, I don't really have an obsession. Well, how do I get my obsession, do you think?
Maybe it's a mindset, and maybe it's a case of you don't actually even realise that you have got something. I used to work in Sainsbury's supermarket on the checkouts, and I used to sometimes get people coming through saying, oh, my life's so mundane, and I don't have anything, I'm not doing anything this weekend. And I would always say to them, I bet it's not as mundane as you think. I bet you're going to see somebody who you really love, a best friend. Oh, actually, yes, I am going to see my best friend. I love her, and we're going to have a coffee and I'll enjoy that. Or even somebody might say, I don't have any hobbies at all. Do you like music? Oh, yes, I absolutely love Coldplay, and I go to see them all the time. So you think, well, you have got a passion in your life. You just don't really see it as that.
That's interesting. So actually, we're saying that people are kind of obsessed with things, but they don't know they are.
They don't know they are.
They don't know what they've got already. In
Anyone who says, I don't have any hobbies, you think you must have something, even if it's something to do with the television. Yeah. Everyone must have something. Everyone must have. They just need to look deep enough.
In your great litany of hobbies that you have, or at least all your things you want to squeeze into your life, what would you say is the most niche thing?
Gosh, I think they're always quite surprised that I collect Pokemon cards. That's not an unusual thing.
I would say it's not unusual, but it's an interesting combination with sea glass.
Yeah, because
I can't imagine those two happening that often.
Yeah,
the sea glass Pokemon collective can't be huge.
It kind of does, because it's massive amongst the neurodivergent community.
How much has this got to do with your daughter, or is this completely separate?
It's my daughter. So I used to go with her every weekend and stand staring into space while she looked through the stalls that sold Pokemon cards. They're in binders, if you can imagine. You sort of flip the pages over and the cards are in there, and there might be ones that are rare. Obviously, you're going to buy them, they're going to be expensive, and then other ones not so much. And I took no notice, and then this is where the link comes in. I spotted a card one day that actually had the Aurora in the background, and that was the hook.
That set you off.
And it was funny because we now know all the stall holders by name. So I now have a binder with my own collection in, and I'm trying to collect all of the cards that links with either the beach or nature or the Aurora or the sea or something like that. And it's surprising once you get into it how many there are. And I seem to have a bit of a lucky streak as well. So I've got an awful lot of pressure on me at the moment, because I bought a pack the other day and my daughter was sort of rabbiting away going, could you imagine if we pulled the biggest card in the pack? It would be amazing. It's worth £1,000. And I was like, yes. So I opened it and I pulled this card out.
Did you know that straight away when you
No,
your
she
your
couldn't
daughter
speak. She was basically hyperventilating. And I was going, what's wrong? What's happened? Is this the card you were talking about? So we bought another pack the next week, and she said, well, this is a different pack, but there's a top card in this one, which is worth £400. I went, look, just don't, okay? Opened the pack, pulled the £400 card out, and she was like, wow, you're like some kind of magical pixie. And I was like, I'm really not. This is just a bit of luck. However, I told my mum, and my mum said that day, put the lottery on, and I won £80 on the lottery as well that same day. So I'm obviously having a bit of a lucky streak.
It's a special moment.
It's a special moment, yes.
What else are you going to do with this lucky streak? Anything else you're going to try that you haven't been trying?
I don't know. I'm hoping today, because as I walk along the beach, I always say, come on, bring me something beautiful. I want to find a marble today, so I'm crossing my fingers and asking the sea pixies to bring me a marble today. Actually, the last time I found a marble on this beach, I stopped and went, come on, marbles. Looked down and there was a marble. Now I wonder if it's the power of positive thinking. I don't know. It's good when it happens, though.
I like that. It's a good way to think, whatever.
Yeah, because I think if you remember these positive moments, it pushes the negative moments away, doesn't it?
What negative moments do you often try and push away? You mentioned your health.
Yeah, I have
any other
I have a
thing?
condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which means I dislocate my joints and I'm in pain all the
So,
time.
what's the name again?
It's called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Ehlers-Danlos.
Syndrome, yeah.
Okay.
Also
Is that a
called
person?
EDS. It was two people. It was a Mr. Ehlers and a Mr. Danlos who discovered this back in, I think,
Got
the
it.
1920s. So I have that and I'm in pain all the time and it causes chronic fatigue. But I find that I come down here and it energises me. And that was another reason why I kept coming, because I found that if I was trying to rest in the house, it actually made me feel worse and more lethargic. So that got me down for a number of years. My daughter also has the condition as well because it's genetic. It's a collagen problem. It's a faulty collagen, so it affects all your skin and your joints and everything, and also your heart. Like I said, I'm autistic. My daughter's autistic, and she had some really troublesome years between about sort of 8 and 11 or 12. But she's at a new school now, and it's doing brilliantly. But for a long time, that was like constantly on my mind. It was a constant battle, a constant fight.
So you got through those tricky
Yeah,
years.
but you've just got to absolutely cherish when you are having a good spell.
Yeah.
You know, what do they say? They say you can't appreciate the good in life if you don't have the bad, and it's true. As I wake up some mornings and go, what have I got to worry about today? Actually, nothing.
Do you think with your health condition, one, I suppose, small mercy / bonus of that is that you really appreciate the days when you're feeling all right? Nothing,
There is absolutely no doubt about that, because I have had this conversation with older people in their 80s who've maybe been diagnosed with arthritis and saying, I can't believe it's come to this. My quality of life's awful and I don't really want to use a walking frame. And I had to come to terms with using crutches and a walking stick when I was about 49. It wasn't particularly nice, but you can either kind of kick and scream and kind of, hate it, or you can sort of embrace it and think, right, okay, I need the best quality of life I can, so I'm going to do what I can to have that quality of life, and I'm going to appreciate every moment. So you do, there's no doubt about it, because I had 2 days on Saturday and Sunday last week which were awful, terrible, really bad pain. And after Saturday and Sunday, when I woke up on Monday morning and the pain was at a normal level for me, wow, it's like winning the lottery. It honestly is, because you just think, oh God, I can function. It's a huge win.
Yeah.
You do really appreciate it.
It's a funny thought that really is the real lottery. You know, this idea of, we have the lottery with the money.
Yeah.
But, the other lottery is the important lottery.
It
really,
is.
Isn't it?
I remember when I was a kid, my older uncles and aunties and grandparents and things like that at New Year always toasted to good health. And as a 7 or 8 year old at the time, I used to think, God, they're obsessed with toasting to good health. Now, it's not until you start to get older that you go, actually, yes, of course, health is everything. Good health is absolutely everything. And you don't appreciate having good health until you don't have good health.
So true. I mean, I literally have the exact same experience. My father used to toast to good health. Yeah, if you're 10 years old, it's like, okay, well, it's a bit of a wasted toast.
It does when you're a kid.
Yeah, I mean, it seems a bit pointless, but then actually, you're totally right. And then at some point, it really kicks in and go, no, that is the right toast.
Yes, definitely.
Can I ask you about your autism a bit? When were you diagnosed?
Oh gosh, 51. So 4 years ago. I'll be 55 next month.
So that's a late diagnosis.
That's a very late diagnosis, and it's a weird thing, and it's not an unusual thing. The pattern is you think your child might have autism, you look into it, you realise they have, they get diagnosed. You then look at yourself and some traits. You might talk to my mum about it, and then I've thought back. And the weird thing is, the condition that I have, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, EDS, presents, as does hypermobility. About 40% of people with EDS have autism, and I remember reading that fact and thinking, oh, well, that's not me. But then all of a sudden your brain goes, well, hang on a minute, how about your childhood? How about when you were constantly like the odd one, the weird one, the one that cried all the time at school, the one that couldn't cope with things, had sensory issues, was anxious, wouldn't eat any food other than, I had 3 things that I ate: corned beef,
Corned beef?
Corned beef,
Okay.
yeah. Beef paste sandwiches and chips, and even then my mum says I didn't eat the chips, I just built houses out of them. So as I wrote and I wrote and I wrote, and I had an A4 notebook, and before I knew it I had about 10 pages, and then I realised, yeah, I'm ticking every box, yeah, there's absolutely no doubt about it. And,
what was that moment like when you, as you were ticking each box, realising that this is actually a
that
thing?
yeah, that was unbelievable, like light bulb moment. And it's weird because a lot of people, especially later in life, might think they might be neurodivergent but say, oh, there's no point in the diagnosis, it's not going to help me now. And I always say it does help massively, because it improves your own awareness of yourself. It makes you sort of more grateful and thankful and kinder to yourself, because when you might be struggling and you go, God, you're stupid, why are you like this? You go, well, you know why you're like this, it's because you're autistic. So accept that and be kind to yourself. And my daughter, I think, was 10 or 11 when she was diagnosed, and I was 51. So,
Wow.
I know.
How do you stop yourself at that point from retracing kind of all your steps to that point? There must be so much reanalyzing of what has happened up to that point, or maybe
It's a funny thing. I'm very pragmatic, and I always look back at life and think, oh, well, I know I did that, and gosh, that was an awful time. My parents were frustrated with me because I wouldn't eat and things like that, and I can't go back and change all that now, and I wouldn't want to. But I do recognise going forward what helps me, what I need, what I don't need. I deliberately don't indulge in having a relationship because I need too much time for myself and my daughter. I also know that I need a lot of space and time, and I'm quite happy to be in my own head. A lot of people aren't. A lot of people need to be busy, busy, busy all the time. And I'm really happy with my own company. And I think as a child and a teenager, and maybe in my 20s and 30s, I felt compelled to fit in, and I went out, Christmas parties that I hated. Whereas now I just go, no thanks. There you go. Yeah. It's brilliant. It's actually really freeing. It's actually completely liberating, because you just, for years of saying yes and standing in bars going, I don't want to be here, this is horrible, I hate it, I'm having a sensory overload. Now you just go, no, I don't want to do that. So it's brilliant. You don't have to retrace any steps. All you need to do is look back and go, okay, you did that because you thought you were expected to do that. You tried to fit in. Let's not do that anymore. And I'll be so much happier. And I am.
Yeah.
Great. It's absolutely great. People go, do you want to go out for a meal? No. To go to a party? Oh, no, thanks very much. You'll find me at the bottom of the garden looking up at the sky.
Brilliant. How did you navigate then the kind of romantic worlds when you did?
Being autistic, I don't get banter. So if anyone ever said anything kind of funny, I would think that was very cruel. Okay. So
so you would take these quite literally?
Yeah, very, very much so. And I could never work out what people were meaning. I could never work out what the motivations were. Once the penny dropped and once I was diagnosed, I was like, yeah, I was never meant to be in relationships, because I'm quite a loner, I suppose. I like people, and I like transient sort of friendships, but nothing like, I can't be in someone's company all the time. I can't be around somebody all the time. I also have an ADHD diagnosis, which was more recent actually, and was diagnosed by a female psychologist who also had ADHD. And she asked this question. She said, you get bored, don't you? And I went, yeah, that's the crux of it as well. People get on my nerves and I get bored with them. I think
so you're quite tough, really, a judge of character. I mean, you're
quite a tough judge of character.
People don't have too much leeway for
No, but then again, I also think my daughter will tell you that I am actually very kind and I am very patient. But I think my patience was potentially broken by maybe just having relationships with people who weren't very good.
How did you choose the people in your life that you did choose? Looking back at are there any patterns?
It's a funny one, that, because I don't have a massive friendship circle. I have my best friend who I met at school when I was 13, and looking back, I think she might be possibly neurodivergent, and that's the connection with us. So we've been friends now for like 40 odd years. And I don't really choose anyone else to be close to me because I don't feel the need, which again comes back to not having a relationship. But I'm the kind of person who indulges in a bit of an online community type thing.
Yeah.
So I run it's like a book club basically, and it's been running for years. And the people on there, because it's a very like-minded thing and it's a very specific thing, because it's basically one author. We're just talking about one author.
Oh,
here.
wow.
Nigel Slater, the food writer.
Oh, wow. It's a whole Nigel Slater.
It evolved from one book. He has a book called The Christmas Chronicles, and it grew from just being about that book into like a year-long kind of discussion, which kind of very much plays into the things that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So nature and cookery and the seasons,
Yeah.
foraging and things like
Do
that.
you think Nigel Slater knows about this?
I
club?
would love to think that Nigel knows about this club. In fact, I just thought about this yesterday because I've commented before on his Instagram, and I would love to think that he follows it. I'd love to think that he reads
Yeah.
it, and I'd love to think that one day he'll actually go, guys, hi, it's me. I've been reading this all along.
I've got a weirdly related story to this.
Okay.
So, my mother is a Nigel Slater fan.
Wow.
She's also the kind of person who, if anything is slightly wrong with something,
Yeah.
she kind of will try and tell someone,
Right.
even if that person is a kind of famous.
Okay.
Chef,
right,
right?
yeah.
So she was making some profiteroles, following his recipe, and she's quite, she's a big baker,
Right.
and it didn't go as she thought it would go.
Okay.
And so she said, well, I followed this to the letter. Like something's not right with this recipe. And so she emailed him, telling him all
I love
explaining
that.
this in detail.
I love
And
that.
he sent her a really sweet one back.
Oh, he's a lovely guy. He's a lovely guy.
So what I'm saying is I think you should email.
That's quite the
Because-
coincidence. I have actually pointed out myself before, because there is a recipe in one of his books that misses an ingredient, and I have actually pointed it out before. And he has gone onto his social media and said like, look, before anybody else comments, I'm aware that the sugar is missing from this. By the way, it's 200 grams, but there's nothing I can do about the book now because the book's been in print for like.
You should
12
find every
years.
single book and write it in.
Yeah. Oh gosh, bless. Well, that's a bit of a coincidence,
go.
isn't it? Wow. There's a
You and
link.
my mother just Nigel Slater.
Well, she should join my club.
I'll tell her about it. You're famous in the Nigel Slater community.
No, I wouldn't even go that far. But we're a beekeeping family as well, and I've been on MasterChef, and I've alluded to these things.
You've been on MasterChef?
I've been on MasterChef, so
Wow.
I'd be
Which
very
one-
easy to
which
find.
one?
Well, I'm actually quite unique in the fact that I wasn't on the one with the two guys that are no longer there, and I wasn't on the original Lloyd Grossman one. I was on a series that the late great Gary Rhodes did in 2001 for 1 year only. Long time ago.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
How was that as an experience?
Oh, it was an incredible experience. It really was. I didn't win, but the producer was a lovely lady. She was a previous contestant. She came over to me afterwards and said, I really wanted you to win. You should have won. Would you do it again? I went, no. Once is enough. Thanks
You came
very
close to
much.
winning?
It wasn't too bad. And I've still got like the photographs of it. Do you know what? I'm sitting here now, and I've picked out certain things that I can see around us on the bench here. And I'm like, yeah, there's a stone over there that I'm going to get. And there's a one over there that I've spotted, and that one looks interesting.
You can see it all.
The brain never switches off. That's
with
the
the stones.
ADHD, yeah.
How was Gary Rhodes as a figure?
He was lovely. He was really lovely. But again, thinking about it now, the fact that I didn't know I was autistic at the time, I was sort of standing backstage and we were getting ready to start filming, and he came over to introduce himself. So should have just turned to him, shook his hand and said hello. But instead of that, I left him standing there with his hand outstretched while I went, I can't find any white pepper. And he went, pardon? I can't find any white pepper. And he went, oh, sorry about that. Hang on a second. He rushed off, got some white pepper and brought it back. And I think about that now, and I think, oh, that's such an autistic thing to do. Oh
Gary
my
Rhodes'
God.
hand.
Yeah. Oh my God. And then to top things off, I was actually married at the time. I was married in my 20s and early 30s. And my husband decided to come sort of through the door and more or less smacked him in the face with the door as he came through from the green room.
Wow.
So
you really
came
left
home
your
and
mark on Gary
Yeah, I
Rhodes.
left me mark on Gary Rhodes. There's no doubt about that. Gosh, bless him.
how long were you married for?
Oh gosh, I think we were together for about 10 years, but it just wasn't for me, as I've already said. Don't like living with people.
Did you have a child with this person?
No, my child I had later on. I didn't have my daughter till I was 40. That was with somebody else. But to be honest, I'm still friends with my ex-husband.
Yeah. So obviously you must have been okay. I mean, you were with someone for a long time, so it was,
Yeah.
But that must mean you were denying yourself things in that relationship as you were going to. Does that make sense?
I think I knew after I'd probably been married for a year that it just wasn't for me.
Yeah. But then you still went. Well, you went.
Yeah,
for 10
because
years.
I think you do. It's like a lot of people now when you hear about people who really should be breaking up and don't break up, and they say they're staying together for the kids and that type of thing. A lot of people persevere, don't they? Because they think it's the right thing to do. Nobody likes failure, if you like.
What do you think about that?
Oh gosh, I mean, I come from parents who, my mum's original husband, my real father, was an awful man. And if you're in a horrible marriage or a horrible relationship, your kids will know, they will feel that, they will see that. If it's a toxic relationship, then you get out, because you're certainly not doing kids any favours by staying in a relationship.
Yeah. So you subscribe to the idea that better that the kids don't have animosity and bad atmosphere in their life, rather than just having people on the same roof kind of for the sake of...
Better off with two happy parents than two unhappy parents. But unfortunately, we still seem to live in a world that subscribes to the thought of like two parents being the norm and single parent being a bit kind of weird. I remember going to my daughter's old school, and the person I was having the meeting with described our home as a broken home, and I thought, that's disgusting, because our home is beautiful and tranquil and calm and kind and loving, and it perhaps wasn't that when I was with her father. So it's a bit of a screwed up perspective that some people have of what's right and what's wrong and what's normal and what's not, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Completely. I think these things die hard, don't they? I mean, they're the kind of foundation stones of everything that's built into us as youngsters and in our society. Yeah. And even by the law, and the government. If you're married, it's beneficial tax-wise.
It is. Exactly.
You literally make more money.
It's unbelievable when you think about it.
Of course, they incentivise it as a system.
Very strange. It just made me realise that actually, as an autistic person, I find it hard to navigate my life. So maybe I am actually doing people a favour by remaining single, because I don't want to place my expectations, my complexities, and my I've already told you that I've got quite a restrictive life.
Yeah.
Being single is not only just good for me, it's good for other people as well. I don't really want to.
Yeah, fair. I would say though, I think that if we take what we've just been saying about not going on what normal thing to do, whatever, or the standard approaches to relationships.
Yes.
I don't think you necessarily need to deny yourself something, in the sense that you can find someone who maybe fits into. You can be very clear. This is who I am. This is what happens. Even if I see you every third Tuesday, maybe that might work.
That would work for a lot of people.
Maybe that could work for that. You could find someone who's like-minded.
It would possibly work for a lot of people. It wouldn't work for me at all at the moment, but I think that's because I have a 14-year-old autistic daughter and I just don't have the time. But that might be something that might work for me in the future. But it's like anything as well, isn't it? It's like saying sexuality. It can be fluid, it can change over the years. Once you pigeonhole yourself as being, no, I'll always be single. I do actually feel like that at the moment, but I'm not so rigid that I don't understand that things can and do change.
Talk about things changing. You were 41 when you had your daughter.
40 when I had my daughter, yeah.
So that that's a decent age to start.
It's kind of late.
Kind of late.
Kind of late.
But timing's always perfect somehow, isn't it?
It's a weird thing, because I never wanted children, and then it's been the most wonderful gift being a mother. Yeah. I absolutely love it. I felt like I was made for it. Me and my daughter are literally two best friends. I get two peas in a pod, so we understand each other so much, and I really would have missed out if I hadn't had. So that was a very...
So how did that all just happen then?
Found myself pregnant at 39. There's a little bit of a happy accident, if you like, and I loved the pregnancy. I loved the birth. I loved every moment. I mean, it has been tough because, like I say, she's autistic as well, so she's got her own issues. But I just thought, God, if I had never done this, what I would have missed out on. Wow.
So when you when the happy accident happened, was there any part of you doubting what you should do?
No, absolutely
So you knew-
not. And that's how I knew
Okay, I see. Yeah, for sure.
because
Yeah,
I didn't like look at the pregnancy test and go, oh my God,
Yeah.
what am I going to do? There was
You
no...
saw it as opportunity. You were like,
it
this
was
is
just,
great. Yeah.
right, it's a little bit of a surprise, but there was never,
Yeah.
ever any doubt. So to go from being very much, I suppose it's the black and white thinking, to go from very much, I don't want children, I don't want children, I don't want children, to going, oh wow, I'm pregnant, this is amazing. I mean, I had a food business at the time which I had to sell, and I mean, I had to give quite a lot up because she's taken quite a lot of looking after because she's got some difficulties and what have you. But it's all been worth it. I wouldn't change any of it in a heartbeat. It's all been absolutely like the most amazing thing.
What's it like with the father? So you it was kind of happy
No,
accident, but
it's
did that make
okay.
it a bit more complicated as a
It's
setup? Or was it
okay.
all
There
right?
was quite an age difference. He was a lot younger than me. He was 13 years younger than me. She doesn't see him an awful lot now. He rings, but it works for us because, again, it's that complex thing of we don't push people away. We're not horrible, nasty people, but we do have limited energy and we have limited brain space. So she's tired after school, I'm tired after my day. We don't really like people kind of visiting very much. We don't really have a lot of energy to give to other people. But we keep in touch and you know, and he knows how she's getting on and we see him occasionally.
The younger man.
The younger man, I know.
What do you? I mean, can he sell it? The younger man. You know, would you do it again?
I was having this conversation with my hairdresser yesterday, and I was telling her about when I split up with my partner, my daughter's dad. I split up with him when I was 41. We were only together for about 18 months after she was born. And then in my mid-40s, I did do a lot of online dating. And all I ever attracted was the 23, 24, 25, 26-year-olds. So there's something in there that I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's the childlike autistic in me who thinks I'm younger than I am. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's why I used to be drawn to younger people. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously got its plus sides, but then again, it didn't work. But I don't think that was the reason why it didn't work. So, don't know. On the case, when we think about it, actually, on the case of falling pregnant at 40, maybe my subconsciousness knew I needed a younger man who was perhaps more fertile. There we go.
I think that's a really, absolutely fair thing to do.
There you go.
Fair
See,
call.
that could be it.
There's
just
a reason why we're all here.
There you go. There you go.
That's amazing. That's incredible. Well, can I ask you 3 more questions and I'm going to leave you alone?
Yeah.
Then to pick last. Is that all right?
Yeah.
I was having a text conversation on the way here because, as I mentioned earlier, got the metro.
Oh, yes.
And 20 years ago, was it 20 years ago? Yeah, I went to university
All right.
in Durham.
Durham, lovely.
I went to Newcastle a couple of times. We went to the coast a couple of times. We didn't do enough exploring.
Right.
And I was texting you. I said, I'm on the Newcastle Metro now. Did you ever go? And he said, I think I went on it once, which maybe makes it worse that I went on it once and never again. However, I had a thought when he said this, and I said, maybe a lot of our actual crimes are not the things that we've done, the things we don't do.
Totally agree. Absolutely.
And so my question to you is, if you had to think of the things that you haven't done that would represent to you a kind of small crime, can you think of what they would be?
Oh, there's a couple of things. As a kid, I was very shy, painfully shy, right? But I always wanted to have that kind of outgoing personality and be able to get on stage and act and sing. I would love to perform. I just never had the courage and the confidence, and I now regret that. I see that my daughter's the same, and I don't push her because I know that even if she regrets not being as outward as she wants to, if you can't do it, you can't do it, and pushing someone is not the answer. But I really, really wish I'd had the guts. I've done karaoke a few times, and it comes back to that thing about passion and something that makes you feel good and really enjoying something.
So can we do more performing? Can that be unleashed, that side of you?
I don't know, because I actually thought about this. I mean, my daughter's just getting to an age now at 14 where kind of she's slightly more independent. So going forward, I'm thinking, I might join something like an amateur dramatics, or I might join something like a choir. probably more choir than amateur dramatics, but then I also always hear things about them being quite odd places and filled with weird characters.
What, choir?
Choir.
Really?
Oh, and the people on my Nigel Slater chat are all in choirs. They're all in choirs, and they all say,
Yeah.
"Oh my goodness!" There's always that one person who sings ridiculously loudly, and there's
Oh, I
always that
see.
one person who they kind of follows you.
Yeah.
and
You
that.
can always move around in the choir, right?
So that's a possibility.
Oh, definitely do that. Mm-hmm. Choirs are amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just it's such a great thing to do.
That's true. Yeah.
I was in a choir quite recently with my child, and there weren't that many fathers.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So there weren't enough basses. So I was in there. But anyway,
sounds
the
lovely.
point is, just fairly recently, and it's so joyous.
Yeah.
I completely recommend it.
That's the
And
thing.
even if there's someone weird, just shuffle about, sing louder than them.
It's going on my list. I have a list on my
You've
phone.
got a long list
and
though, haven't
once,
you?
Yeah, I have got a long list, but I have to do
Of
this.
things you need to do.
Yeah.
Can you read out your list, by the way? Is that okay?
So I have got like lots of things to do with the garden, like
Yeah.
plant the lettuce, plant things that I need to buy. I also want to write a book called The Sea Glass Diaries, which weirdly enough,
You've got to do it.
right? I thought about this idea only a few days ago, and the idea came about because of the conversations that I have on the beach.
Amazing.
And a lot of these ideas will not come to fruition. A lot of these things will. And if it's on my list of things to do, then I will work my way through it. And I've got a note of where all the blackthorn, all the local blackthorn has just flowered. And when it's in flower, that tells you where the sloes will be in the autumn. And I pick sloes in the autumn.
Are you a slow gin fan?
I hate it, but I love making it. So I make bottles and bottles and bottles of it, and then I give it all away at Christmas. I give it to my Waitrose drivers and everything. I'm like,
Fantastic.
yeah, you've got to have one of these for Christmas.
lovely.
So I've written down exactly where all the slopes are. There's some at Richard's house, there's some opposite Sainsbury's, and there's some on my dad's roundabout, right? My dad's roundabout being where he parks the car when he takes the dog for a walk, right?
Yeah.
And then I've just got things in like massive capital letters, right? Build the cold frame, move the bench, clear the table, paint the doors, move the swing, move the obelisks, trim the garden, dig out the bluebells. So I lost this list about 2 days ago, and I just started to retype it. It just ended up deleting. So I'm putting choir back on there now after losing it. So choir is now the first thing on that list of things you need to do.
Yes.
Look into it, find one, go.
I love that. So, at the end of these podcasts is a song.
Oh,
And the song is especially composed for the episode.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do have, at some point, the idea of getting a choir to sing the end song for one of these.
What a lovely idea.
So maybe the choir will sing us out in this particular
What a
episode.
lovely idea.
But then you have to join a choir then. Imagine
I
if
do.
imagine
Yeah,
if a
'cause
choir
of that.
sung you out and then you didn't join a choir.
No, I'd be very disappointed in myself there, yeah. I mean, no pressure or anything, obviously, but no, I will.
And then, And then when you
will.
went to join the choir, they said, "Why are you here?" And you said, "Well, a whole choir sung me out, so I've got to be."
Wow. There you go. Right, okay. Wow.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. No, that's just given me...
Choir pressure is a good pressure, right?
Choir pressure is a lovely pressure. If you're going to have pressure in life, then choir pressure is the one you would choose.
Well, yeah. How have you found the experience talking to a stranger on a bench? Okay.
Really, really good, actually. I don't know. I either picked me on a good day or, in a way, you know, I find it strange that I say that I'm such a restrictive person and that I have all these autistic characteristics, but actually, I can kind of just get on with anyone and go with the flow and you know, have my day interrupted. If I was actually that restricted, you would have approached me and I would have went, "Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm very busy, go away." So I'm actually kind of very open and kind of a very honest person, and I think this has been a lovely thing for me to be involved in, actually. So what a lovely thing to have that chance meeting. Thank you.
Beautiful. There's one question that ends it. Before we're going to do that, we're going to do one other thing. So, if you're okay with this, I ask people to close their eyes and they can imagine things. I ask them to think back to a kind of a moment or a scene in their life from the past. I'll close my eyes.
Okay.
Somewhere you go back to that you can describe in detail?
There's
or
so
something?
many things, loads and loads and loads of things that I treasure so much. But the one thing that came to the forefront of my mind as soon as you said it, and I can't now move it out of my mind, is seeing the Aurora Borealis in the most spectacular fashion. I think it was on the 10th of May 2024. I've never seen colour in the sky and movement in the sky like that ever in my life. And all I could do was just say wow over and over again, because these colours, when you think about the Aurora Borealis, you sometimes think, oh, you get like that green or whatever. This was like a rainbow, but at night in the dark. And it was green and yellow and orange and red and pink. And for such a natural phenomenon to be so incredibly vivid, and it was one of those moments where you just think being alive is just amazing and incredible, and the world is beautiful. It was something you got just completely and utterly immersed in, and it felt like such a privilege to witness it. Really did. Very special.
Well, there you go. You ready for the final question?
Come on then.
Let's do it. And then after that, the choir will start.
Okay. I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to that. Okay. I've got a song in my mind.
Oh, what a song? What a tune?
Yeah. It's been playing in my mind while we were talking all the time. And I don't know why, other than the fact it's a song I love. It's Edge of 17 by Stevie Nicks.
Oh wow.
Love that song.
Okay, great.
That's
been playing in your mind. What
if I join a choir
Yeah.
and I enjoy it and I stay,
Yeah.
I will put my little hand up and I will
You
say,
do that.
at some point, can we sing
Yeah.
Edge of 17, please?
Too
There you
right.
go. There you go. You see, put that on the list.
Okay, fantastic.
Right,
Get that on
last
the list.
question,
Famous
yes.
list. Yes. What are you going to do next?
When I stand up, bearing in mind I'm never quite sure what my joints are going to be like, my brain will either say, you need to go home now and have a cup of tea, or let's go and have a look and see if there's any more sea glass to be found. So it's gonna have to be a case of, when I stand up, have I got another half an hour in me, or am I going to go home and have a cup of tea? In actual fact, with it being such a beautiful day, I will remain outdoors. So if I do go home, I'll go and sit in the garden and have a cup of tea. So either way, I'll be somewhere beautiful. I'm enjoying every minute of this blue sky, because I don't get an awful lot of good weather in the northeast coast of England, to be honest. So I'm just going to enjoy every moment of this beautiful day. There you go.
Lovely.
Thank
you so much for your time.
You're very welcome.
I really enjoyed talking to you.
I've enjoyed talking to you as
And,
well. Thank you.
I'm going to imagine this mountain of sea glass forever now.
It's hysterical, honestly.
In the conservatory.
God, honestly, it needs sorting.
Would you want sea glass to appear in this choir singing about sea glass, do you think?
Oh, that would be lovely, wouldn't it? That would be lovely.